Oftentimes, the things that hold people back are just it's just your own bullshit, your own stupid ass stories you keep telling yourself. Like, oh, I can never start a business because I'm just not that type of person. I can never do sales because that's just not me. Says who? That's fucking bullshit. The thing is, in life doesn't give a fuck about your thoughts or feelings. If you're, for example, when I was doing sales, there were people who came in all the time. It's a very high turnover rate. Door to door sales. You're fucking working outside like 12 hours a day, talking to people you don't know. They don't even care about you. If anything, they fucking hate your ass. They hate your ass, which is even worse. It's not even like you work at retail and people are looking to buy stuff. No, you're going to their house at like all sorts of hours, knocking on their door, and these people they're trying from the get-go to get you to get the fuck out because they hate you. And the people who never made it in sales were always the people who told themselves shit like, oh, this is so hard, I can never do this, it's impossible. But this is bullshit, because you would look around and there's other people making sales, there's other people making money. There's someone might have a bad day and say, oh, the turf is so bad, the area that I got dropped off in is so bad, this neighborhood was so bad, someone was already here. Yeah, you could drop off two people in the same fucking area and one person would come and kill it and the other person would have nothing. And this is, I believe strongly that your mindset and your psychology is a big part of life. Of course, you also do need to have the technical prowess and the know-how to actually do the thing, but after a certain level, your technicality has diminishing returns. After you are so good at something, you have to work on the application of that skill in times of duress and stress. And once again, it's a lot of it is just the stupid stories that you keep telling yourself. Like, I could never have a business because I don't know, I have this good job. But these are just thoughts. They're a subjective reality. It's only your own personal, individual perspective of the scenario. Just like people in the sales office, people who are like, oh, I just can't do this today, or I can never do this, or I can only make this much amount of money. It's a very subjective story that you keep telling yourself. It's just bullshit. I mean, the fucking best person at our sales office was a guy named Jeff, and he would literally carry the office. Like, he would sometimes outproduce. So on some weeks he would have like more production than another office, like not our office, but like other offices, like him alone. And the thing with Jeff is he didn't have these stupid stories he told himself. He just fucking went out and knocked doors and made sales. He was never like, oh, someone was here today, so it's shit. Like, yeah, he might say those things, but he never really believed them. And if he did believe them, it didn't even fucking matter. He went and got the job done. So I think it's crucial for everyone who's living life to get rid of your bullshit stories. Everyone has these stupid stories that you keep telling yourself. And I'm not even saying that these stories are false. Some of these stories are false. Some of these are real. Some people have had really bad childhoods. Abusive parents, or maybe just traumatic experiences with strangers, or just some bad shit happens to you. But at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you want to live up to these stories of, oh, I'm just a broken person, or you reevaluate your life, and you change, you reframe your story and your perspective. Because once again, life is not always what happens, but it's more so what you make of it. I put up a quote on Instagram. It was a really good quote. Failure is just, what was the quote? Oh, failure is dwelling too long on the past. Anyways, check it out. It's on my Instagram. But yeah, failure is just dwelling too long on past mistakes. You can never really fail at life. I mean, even if you're dead, that's not really a failure. You're just dead. You're just in another state of being, right? And we always have these But again, we have these labels and we have these stories we could tell ourselves, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I always came from a scarce background where we didn't have money. Money was always tight. So me first going into business, I had a lot of bullshit stories too that I would tell myself about how much money I could make, what I can charge people for my products or services. Slowly but surely though, I was able to just change my mindset, and the most important thing to change your mindset is to take action. You got to take action, and you have to commit to actually wanting to live another life. There's not much else to say about it. Like, I don't know what your bullshit story is, but everyone has one. Okay, it's whether it's in your health, wealth, love, or happiness. I like to use those 4 quadrants. It just makes it easy to categorize certain aspects of your life. But yeah, you might have a bullshit. You might be making a lot of money, but you have a weird story towards health. Maybe you've never been fit before, or you grew up being the fat kid. So you now have this bullshit story that you're always gonna be the fat kid. Or maybe you have a bullshit story in your love life where you feel like you can't commit to people because you have this story that if I commit to someone, I'm gonna get hurt. Once again, these are just thoughts. Thoughts are not an objective reality. They're your subjective perspective of reality. So what are some methods or ways that we can take these thoughts that are disempowering us and either replace them or transmute them to a new thought that'll actually help us to take action or just view life in a better way? Well, the first thing is actually to put some doubt into your thoughts. Question your thoughts, okay? Well, actually, before that, the very first thing is be aware of these stories you tell yourself. So if you look in your mirror and you're like, oh, I'm so ugly, right there is another bullshit story. Because again, what is ugly? It's just a matter of perspective, right? So, and then the second thing here, so first is being aware of the stories that you tell yourself. Oh, I'm actually going the wrong way. So the first thing is to be aware of the stuff you're telling yourself, whatever that is. Like, oh, I can only make $2,000 a month, or oh, there's no way I could do this. Become aware of it. Second thing to do is to now actually put some doubt into it. So put some doubt into that thought. Actually think, okay, is this really true? Is this an objective truth? And you're gonna have to dig deep here and ask yourself the right questions, because it's easy to kind of buy into it and be like, oh yeah, it's true. But you really want to play devil's advocate and play up the doubts. For instance, let's say you have a story where you feel like you can't. Let's say you feel like you can't succeed in your career. Let's say that's your story. Let's say you have that story. So first think of instances where this may not actually be true. You might want to think of instances, maybe not in this specific career, but maybe even in school where you actually did excel and things weren't as bad as it seemed. This way you can build doubt toward the thing you're actually trying to accomplish. So I might look back and say, okay, well, maybe in this career I think I can't succeed, but are there different parts of my area where I was able to succeed and grow? And if I were able to do that there, why couldn't I do it in my career now? So you want to start using those examples and build doubt. You don't even need to have specific references. You can just give doubt directly to the idea. You can start questioning, okay, why do I think that I can't succeed in my career? Oh, my manager hates me. Well, why do I think my manager hates me? This, and that. And you can start to unravel and unwind these beliefs and thoughts. A third and really effective method is to actually transmute these beliefs and thoughts, because beliefs and thoughts never really disappear. So when people try to do these positive thinking patterns where they're trying to like wipe out the thought, it never really works, because thoughts are not, energy cannot be destroyed. Energy can't be destroyed. It's like a law of physics. It can only be transferred or like transmuted to something else. So what I like to do actually is to change the internal tone of my bullshit story. So For example, let's say one of my stories was I can't make more than $1,000 a month. So I would tell myself like, oh, I can't do this. I can't make more than $1,000 a month. I would just simply change the tone of the inside voice. So instead of me saying to myself, oh, I can't make $1,000 a month, I would just say, I can't make more than $1,000 a month. You see, you're transmuting it. So it's coming from a factual statement to a question. So I can't make $1,000 a month. And it really helps with the second step, which is to actually question it. Because tone, a lot of words is just logic, but it doesn't really affect you emotionally. It's better if you're able to affect your belief emotionally. So using tones is really great and really helps you. This can also help you with other things, like let's say you're a very introverted person because you feel like strangers are dangerous. So whenever you go in a room, your story is, oh, these people hate me and I look ugly. So usually you're gonna find yourself saying that to yourself in a very harsh tone, like, these people hate me, fucking hate me, I'm so ugly, and no one's gonna like me here. It's very hard to try to fight it, to fight that thought. Be like, no, that's wrong, no. Because your brain, when you try to create that resistance, your brain's gonna actually look for more evidence that people hate you. Instead, what you can do is like, these people hate me, and everyone is just, and I'm ugly. Like, you just change the tonality of things, and it really changes your perspective of whatever thought that you're having. It's basically, you're like softly diverting the thought instead of trying to harshly block it out. And I find that trying to block it out really doesn't work. It also works for other like statements as opposed to questions, when you're like, oh, I'm so fucking ugly. Instead of you saying that in such a harsh tone to yourself, you can just be like, I'm so fucking ugly. It's almost like a joke, like, yeah, I'm so fucking ugly. You're almost embracing and transmuting that story now into something that was so serious and harsh to something that's light, funny. You can have some distance to it. So that's basically the video for today. I just wanted to touch on these stories that we keep telling ourselves. Like, we are always the biggest enemy, right? We feel like we have such little control over our lives, so we keep telling us these stories that give us a sense of self, when in reality we actually have so much power over our lives. And most of us are just scared. We're just scared of change and living a different life, because what we've been doing so far has kept us alive. The thought of changing is very scary, but you know, I hope these 3 steps help. They really help me on a daily basis. Again, these are just guidelines, principles. There's a million ways to look into how you can change your story. Being aware is probably the most critical one for sure. And I really like doing the transmutation and putting doubt into the story and wondering, well, is this a factual statement, or is it just me telling myself bullshit? So that's it for this video. Again, thanks for watching. If you already haven't done so, check out Social Media Selling on my website. It teaches you how to use social media. It's what I did to build my brand when I first started. And also check out the eBay dropshipping program. This is a completely free program that I made for people because it's fucking hard out there. Someone shared this with me when I was first starting off my internet journey, and I just want to help other people make money online too, because online marketing is vicious. There's a lot of snake oil that you're gonna have to buy, but I just wanted to have a free program where you can actually get started making money without having to pay for like $5,000 program, and without having to like have all these tools and unnecessary bullshit that's out there on the internet. So also check that out too. That's eBay Amazon Dropshipping 101. As always, just have a good day and live your life.